In this part of the review, we're going to talk about the license law and license qualifications. So, first of all, let's start with the fact that if we submit an application for the license and complete the educational requirements but does not pass the license exam, when will your application expire? So basically, even though you do all your things, all the core pre-license coursework and everything, but you don't pass the licensure exam, you still have 2 years after failing the exam. That's in case you fail. If you are good, you can have your license and renewal every 2 years. So if an applicant omits um, if an applicant omits on the licensure application, what is the time the application have to correct it, the mistake? So you have 30 days to go to fix any mistake that you have do in your application. So what Florida statute establish real estate license, legal right and responsibility. So basically, what is the Florida statute chapter? Which chapter of the statute establish the real estate license, legal right and responsibility? That's uh, 475, chapter 475. If you are a graduate student in an appraising degree program at a university and you have been supervised by a real estate broker, you don't need any license to do the appraising thing, the appraising job, because you have been supervised by the real estate broker. So the answer is that you don't need a license to do this kind of work. So real estate brokers, what is a definition of real estate broker? Is a person who buys, sells and manage real estate broker for compensation. Compensation means commission money in return for their service. So in order to meet the continuing education requirements for either a sales associate or broker, what is a license substitute for the 3 hours education? What is equivalent to the 3 hours education that you need to do as a continuing education requirement? Um, it's to attend at a legal agenda section of the commission just 1 day, and that will substitute the 3 hours education. It's up to you. If a broker in Georgia moved to Florida and wants to apply for the mutual recognition agreement between Florida and Georgia, what the broker can do? Well, if the broker takes that decision, unfortunately, there is nothing that he can do because Florida and Georgia does not have the mutual recognition agreement. So something really important is that a general license provision requirement is a social security number. You don't have to be a resident, USA citizen, or have the driver license. You only need your social security number as the requirement to be a real estate associate. If an applicant makes an error on the license application, the license may be denied if the error is not corrected, except always is an exception, but in this case is if the applicant was not notified about the mistake with a designated time period. Remember that you have 30 days to fix any mistake on your application. If you have been if you haven't been notified, that's the only thing that counts on your favor. So a broker post license education includes passing the end of the course exam. Florida sales associate education requirements include 14 hours of continuing education every 2 years. That's one of your requirements every 2 years. And remember, it's 14 hours every 2 years. That's for sales associates. So, a Florida broker pre-license requirement includes 72 hours of pre-license coursework. A real estate, what is defined, what is its definition, is an interest in land, business enterprise, or business opportunity with some exceptions. If anyone is procuring of a business opportunity, he must he must be licensed as a real estate broker associate or sales associate. Broker associate or sales associate. That's the kind of license that you need to have in in order to do this kind of business. If you till the application for a sales election in 30 days, if you submit, sorry, here is submit the application for the sales associate licensure 30 days ago, yet you haven't heard from the approval or denial of your application, what can you conclude at that point? Well, at that point, it's too early to arrive to a conclusion. You have to wait until 90 days. That's the time that can take so they can give you an answer. So maybe you got a earlier answer before 90 days, but the last that's when you can make some move. You can do something to know if you are approved or denied. So what statute established general provision for Department of Business and Professional Regulation? In that case, that statute is Chapter 455. That's where establish general provision for the Department of Business and Professional Regulation. Remember, provision 455. 455. It tends to confuse, but remember provision, prohibit 455. 455. You have to repeat it many times so you can recall. Okay, if you are a licensed real estate broker in Florida, but you want to move to North Dakota to live there, what you should do: notify the commission of your change of residence and comply with the non-resident requirements. So you have to see what are the non-resident requirements so you can still have your real estate broker. So what Florida statute covers the commission administrative rules that includes detailed principles for real estate practice. So, what is the chapter that covers this matter? Is chapter 61G2. Commission, Commission Administrative Rules. 61G2. Chapter 61G2. Remember that for provisions is 455. Facts: if individual renting properly licensed public laundry does not need to have a license as real estate broker, neither as broker associate nor sales associate. So that's the only thing that he needs to do. Have a public laundry laundry license, and that's it. That's the end for now. And